Good evening. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory here with your First Alert weather show on all our streaming platforms. I want to first talk about these tropical funnels or cold air funnels. Those are kind of in many ways the same things. We have had just a couple of reports of these. One yesterday, this is from yesterday in Mount Carmel from Eric Denny, but then the one that has really been getting a lot of attention was today. This right here is a picture of the tropical funnel in Poseyville that got very close to the ground, really gave the folks there a bit of a scare as there was that, concern that if it were to touch down, that would have turned into a tornado. Liz DeSantis went and talked to some folks in Poseyville about that, folks who saw it and got video and sent it to us. And so she'll be talking more about that on 14 News tonight at 10. Taking a quick check-in of the comments here. Oh, if I can get them to show up. The video is not showing up for me, so I hope it's showing up for you all. There it is. Okay. For a moment there, mine was still showing that initial slate. Good evening to Caden, Lacey Martin, Lucas Sigler. Lots of questions about these rain chances and storm chances we have coming up. And another report of a cold air funnel. So we've been getting a few of these reports of these funnels sort of going on here recently. And like I said, Liz DeSantis will have more on that one in Poseyville a little bit later tonight. This is a loop of the radar at the time that those pictures and videos were taken. And it doesn't look very impressive, does it? There was just this one little thunderstorm, very disorganized. It didn't last very long, just kind of bubbled up, dropped a little heavy rain, a few bolts of lightning, and then tapered back off there all within about an hour or two. And that's what's interesting about this is these funnels are different from a tornado where you would normally think of a severe thunderstorm that, is just roaring across the tri-state and then puts down this tornado. That is not the situation here at all. They both involve rotation and, funnels coming out of the clouds, but it's a totally different setup. I've been calling these tropical or cold air funnels. We're more familiar with the term cold air funnel, but we really don't have the cold air you would typically see with a cold air funnel. So these are more tropical funnels that we've been seeing recently. A cold air funnel is a situation where you would have a strong upper level low and cold air aloft. And then that difference in temperature along with that natural spin, you would end up with these updrafts. And as these showers or storms develop, the updraft from that shower or storm development would stretch this vorticity, this little bit of spin that you already have in the atmosphere would get stretched. And as it does, it stretches into this funnel and you end up with what we oftentimes refer to as a cold air funnel, which is a funnel that forms but rarely extends to the ground or causes damage. So it's a little different from a funnel cloud that would form during a severe thunderstorm and then eventually oftentimes reach the ground and become a tornado. This is a different situation. This is a very weak rotation, hard to even really see on the radar. It's such a weak rotation. These usually do not touch the ground. They can on very rare occasions and form extremely weak tornadoes, but that's an extremely rare situation. They almost never touch down. They're usually just these funnels. Like I said, the one in Poseyville today got pretty low to the ground. It is the closest I've seen in quite a while, but this is a more tropical system where we don't really have that cold air aloft, but still you have to remember that the atmosphere is fluid. You have to think of it, even though it's air, think of it almost like water. And think about how if you were to drag your finger through a tub of water, behind it you would get those little swirls, little eddies, right? And so sometimes that happens in the atmosphere too, where we have a little boundary of some kind, and as it pushes through the atmosphere, it kicks up a few showers and storms, and we also get some natural spin because it's sort of disrupting the fluidity of the atmosphere there. And that eddy, that little spin, that's all it takes to kickstart it. You get that caught into an updraft and stretch out that vorticity. And when I say stretch it out, think of a broad rotation would be kind of like a figure skater with her arms out, and then if she were to pull her arms real tight, she would spin up, real tight there. That's kind of what's going on here too. You just have some broad rotation, then it gets pulled into that updraft, and it pulls tight, 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 and it spins tighter and tighter, and it ends up turning into this funnel. So I hope I'm explaining that well. They're kind of an odd situation. We don't get them all the time, but we do get them occasionally, and that's what's had everybody talking in the weather department here today, is we have had several pictures of these tropical funnels, sort of sister akin to cold air funnels, harmless, but kind of scary if you were to see it out and about. You know, it does look very similar to a tornado. So if you were to see something like that, something I want you to keep in mind is, first, watch it for a minute, make sure it is actually rotating. Sometimes we also get low-hanging clouds here in the tri-state that look kind of scary, may even look kind of funnel-like, but when you look closely, they're not spinning. They're just a piece of low-hanging cloud, scud cloud, we often call them, and they're totally harmless. But watch it for a minute, see, is it actually rotating? And if it is rotating, it may be a funnel, and in that situation, please take a video, at least take a picture, preferably a video, so that we can see the rotation too. Share that with us so that we can take a look at it too. But just know that in situations like what we've got going on right now, where it's just these little spotty showers, they're very disorganized, there's not really a severe weather threat, odds are what you're looking at is just a funnel and will only ever be a funnel. The odds of it touching down are very low. So let's talk about what's going on out there right now. We've had some pockets of heavy rain and a few rumbles of thunder. We've had this very scattered rain all day long today. We've still got some out there right now. We had some thunderstorms out around Cape Girardeau earlier this evening. Those have largely weakened out as they've moved into the tri-state and are really just a few very scattered showers now. We do still have some heavy rain and lightning down around Dawson Springs and southern Hopkins County, and then moving out of Davis County into Hancock County now as well. As we go through the rest of the evening, I expect those showers and storms to continue to kind of weaken out. But there is still the possibility we could see some more spotty showers and storms developing very late tonight, closer to 2-3 a.m. and continuing into early Wednesday morning. But much like the rain we've already seen today, it'll be pretty hit or miss, so not everyone's going to see that rain. As we move forward into Wednesday, I think most of Wednesday will probably be dry. I think we'll even get a decent amount of sunshine, although there will be some clouds certainly mixed in as well. There's another isolated chance of a stray shower or storm as we go through Wednesday afternoon and evening, but again, very isolated. I think many of us will stay dry. As we go through Wednesday night into Thursday, a cold front starts to approach the tri-state. This is really going to pick up our rain chances on Thursday, but the timing is still a little bit iffy. As that cold front comes in from the northwest, it's going to kick up scattered showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms. This particular model is showing Thursday morning up through about lunchtime on Thursday, and that's a very real possibility, but I also want you to know that there are other models, other model runs showing this rain from about lunchtime Thursday through the afternoon and evening. So some of the models are showing it in the first half of the day, others are showing it in the second half of the day. So I'm really waiting for them to kind of come to a consensus, or for those storms to get close enough that we can actually see them and track them and see which models are putting them where they actually are, if that makes sense. So for right now, there is a good chance we'll see some scattered showers and storms on Thursday as that cold front moves through, but morning versus afternoon still a little bit up in the air. Things seem to be trending toward the morning though, and then we've got an isolated chance of rain on through Thursday evening into Thursday night. The good news is we're still not expecting severe weather. We're just outlooked for general run-of-the-mill thunderstorms through the next few days. However, we are outlooked for flooding. There's a lot of humidity in the atmosphere right now, lots of moisture, and so when these storms develop and tap into that moisture, they can really just pour, and they haven't been moving very quickly either, so it may pour over one location for a little while. So on the other side of the county, it might be dry, but at your house, it could be flooding potentially. So that's what we're dealing with for the next few days. So just be aware, we are still outlooked at a level 1 risk for some isolated flash flooding. As for our temperatures, most of us are sitting somewhere in the mid to upper 70s. That rain really cooled us off, but I think we'll hold pretty steady through the rest of the night. We're not going to see those temperatures drop very much. I do want to point out that the dew points are also in the 70s, which means the Muggy meter is kind of maxed out. Like I said, there's a lot of humidity in the atmosphere, and as a result, there is that threat of some heavy rain. There's lots of moisture. Our temperatures will only drop a few degrees breeze into the low to mid 70s overnight tonight. We may deal with a little bit of patchy fog, but I don't think it'll be a widespread issue. Then tomorrow, that humidity is also going to make it feel even hotter than it will already be. Because tomorrow we'll get a little more sunshine, I do think it'll be warmer than today. Highs will reach the lower 90s, but when you factor in the humidity, the heat index is probably going to peak between 100 and 105 in most locations. So hot and humid out there tomorrow. And with that humidity, even though our chance of rain is isolated on Wednesday, any rain that develops may potentially be heavy rain and could even cause some localized flooding issues. But again, not a widespread problem. Moving forward then, Thursday, another hot one. It may trend a little bit cooler if that rain keeps pushing into the morning. We'll have to wait and see. We do see a brief dip in our temperatures Friday, Saturday, but still very typical heat for mid-July. Highs in the upper 80s to near 90, and then we start to heat back into the low to mid 90s as we go through the first half of next week. One thing you may notice is there are a lot of rain chances in the forecast through the next 7 days. We are still stuck in this very unsettled weather pattern. So Thursday, I already mentioned we've got that chance of rain as a cold front comes down from the northwest, kicks up some scattered showers and storms across the region. But then as that gets sort of right over top of us, it starts to just slide to the east. And as it gradually begins to move out, the next weather maker moves in. So we continue to see scattered rain in the forecast through Friday and Saturday. And then as that next low pressure system moves through, we've got scattered rain in the forecast Sunday and even into Monday as well. So as we get these sort of back-to-back weather systems, we continue to see these chances for scattered showers and a few thunderstorms every single day through the rest of this week and even the weekend and early next week as well. Still not expecting severe weather, but I do want to point out that we are again under that outlook level 1 for isolated flash flooding, and that's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that continue into the start of next week as well. So just be aware of that. We have this chance of scattered rain. I don't think these days will be total washouts. There will be dry time mixed in there as well. But every day there's this chance for scattered showers and a few thunderstorms. And really the main threat is that those storms may have lightning, which can be extremely dangerous if you're outdoors. And the rain may be heavy at times and could produce some isolated flash flooding problems. So we'll be keeping an eye out on that. Let's take a check-in on the comments again. Some folks asking about Friday night. A little iffy on the timing for that rain on Friday. You definitely want to have a backup plan for any outdoor plans you have on Friday. Have the opportunity to move things indoors if you can, but I would also advise you have the 14 First Alert weather app. Use that. Use the radar on that to be able to check and keep an eye on the storms if there are some in your area, so that you know if it's starting to head your way, it's getting too close, time to start packing things up and move inside. And obviously, if you hear thunder, stop what you're doing immediately and move inside. But I would say Friday night is looking iffy at best, Caden. All right. Some folks sharing what they've been doing the past couple of days. Glad to see everybody seems to be having a good week so far. Some folks asking about the severe weather threat, lots of lightning. Again, lightning can look and sound kind of scary, bright flashes and all that thunder, but as long as you're inside, you're really pretty safe, and we're not anticipating severe weather of any kind tonight. William reporting a cold air funnel. Laura Gray says it's thundering in Dawson Springs right now. We checked on that just a minute ago. Hello, Libby. Hello, Megan. Hi, Patty. Good evening, Jeanette. Lenny reporting lightning in Whitesville. That's that, moving out of Davis County into Hancock County storm that I mentioned earlier. Hello, Ricky. Megan, we're just, that's just the luck of the draw around here. She's asking about crazy humid summers, and there's a few different things playing into the humidity around here. For one, it's our geography, our location. Oftentimes when we have a southerly breeze, that wind is originating in the Gulf. So we've got this Gulf moisture that flows up through the deep south and up into the tri-state. The other thing is the geography, the topography, what our land is made up of. There's no deserts anywhere near us out here. In fact, there are a lot of fields, a lot of agriculture, a lot of forest, and plants produce their own humidity as well. There's something called corn sweat, where in areas where there's a lot of corn, as it's growing, it's using a lot of water in that process, and especially this time of year, as it is doing that, it releases a lot of moisture into the atmosphere. So especially in rural areas where you have a lot of corn, a lot of other agriculture, you can actually see higher humidity as a result of those surrounding fields. So between our location with moisture coming in up off the Gulf and the fact that we're releasing our own moisture from the plants in this area, we are just always primed for a very humid summer here in the tri-state, whereas in places like Arizona, where they have much drier heat, places where you are in that sort of desert heat, it gets extremely hot there. But they never have that heat index to worry about. That humidity is not a concern for them. So just something to get used to. If you're new to the tri-state, just know this is not a fluke. Our summers are humid every single year. Laura says she's ready for fall weather, and I can get on board with that, but I'd like at least one more sunny week of summer, wouldn't you? Just like a good pool week. We haven't had that here recently. We're stuck in this sort of active pattern where we've got you're always watching for this chance of rain. I'd like to have just a nice, pretty sunny day. You're welcome, Paula. Jason asking about Holiday World tomorrow. I think you're probably pretty good, but drink lots of water. It's going to be very, very hot, and know that there is an isolated chance of rain. I wouldn't rule out the possibility of a thunderstorm, but for Holiday World, I'd be more concerned about the heat than I would be the rain. I'm not saying you won't have a delay due to rain at some point, but I'd be more concerned about the heat. All right. I'm not seeing any more questions, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, it is going to be hot and humid the next couple of days. Scattered rain possible every single day this week, but better chances as we go through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Some heavy rain and lightning certainly a concern, but severe storms are not expected. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off of here, and I hope you all have a great rest of your night, and join us for 14 News at 10.